Hey, welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. Some of you all have been asking about my solar array, specifically how did I set it up, that kind of thing. Somebody said something about, you might want to go check it after that big windstorm you just had. I did. It's fine, but I thought I would talk about how I put this system up. Right off the bat, I do not, by any stretch of the imagination, claim to be an expert in this. This is just what I've done, and it's working for me so far. So please take this advice from that perspective. But with solar, and I've said this before, there's a couple ways of going about it. There's probably a lot of ways of going about it, but the two main ways I see is, number one, what do you want to run on solar? And then there's a way to figure out how many watts and amps and all that stuff you're going to do. Okay, so if you want to run this, how many days do you think you're going to go without sunshine charging your panels? Okay, that could be this many. Okay, based on that, we can crunch some numbers, and you need a system this big. That's a way to do it. That means money comes last in that equation. Your system this big costs this much money, there you go. Another way of doing it is the way we did it, which is, okay, we have $200, what can we do? So we started out with a Harbor Freight $200 320 watt panel system. What can we do with that? And then we added a 100-watt panel, then we upgraded to 200 watts total, then and we've just built and built and built. We've had some great friends and help along the way. And so what I'm running now on this system is, I think these are 325s, 325 watt panels. They might be 350, might be 365, somewhere in there. Like I should know, right? But I'm not that guy. And there's 4 of them, and same thing with stands. Well, to do a stand, you can either do it roof mounted or ground mounted. If you want it ground mounted, you got to do this, that, and everything. I don't have money for that. And so with the help of an engineer, and then not to give him any blame for anything that went wrong, I then did some things on my own, so I'll take all the blame for anything that's not right. Why don't I just take you over there and show you? Let me stand back here, maybe I can see. All right, so the panels, you can see, here's my hand. They're on, I sunk 4x4s into the ground. Let's go back over there. That's the first thing I did. What are you doing, dog? All right, let's come back here. Boop. Sorry, earthquake. All right, so I sunk these 4x4s right here into the ground, and then we ran some bored holes in it, ran some galvanized pipe through, and then I built this rack right here out of 2x4s. They're treated 2x4s, so they can be out in the weather. Reinforce them at the engineer's suggestion with these. Pretty simple construction. Put a double beam, whoop, across the middle, to which we attach this galvanized pipe. Boom, in the ground. I ended up having to put this cross piece right here up for more support. And that's what I did initially. And then how do you keep these panels? Oh, I also made this high enough off the ground so that should anything horrible happen and this panel starts spinning, it doesn't hit the ground. So if this panel's vertical, it won't touch the ground and smash. But then how do you keep the panel at the angle you want it? Well, I did this. Again, sorry. I'm not a photographer, guys. I just put blocks up right there at the height that I wanted it. And then, so that keeps it from going down any further, those blocks. But what keeps the wind from blowing it up? 550 cord. That's all. Right there. Just tied them down with that. One on each side. Right now, these are set for winter gain. They're fairly vertical, if you will, because the sun over here we go, over there is low in the horizon all day. And so you kind of want the sun to hit your panel at a 90-degree angle. And so they're set low for winter. I built it for winter sun, and then this summer, I never tilted them more up because then the summer sun is higher, right? I never tilted them up, and we still got a lot of power out of them. This summer I probably will. Something I'm thinking about doing is hooking a leg that can spin right here, so I can bring this up and prop it here, or bring it down and prop it here, kind of thing, and lock it in, as opposed to just tying it with 550 cord. But that's what I did. All right, so initially it was just this setup with the block and the 550 cord, but these started moving back and forth a little bit and working in the ground, and it wasn't strong enough, so I built what I refer to as bed frames to hold them in better. And all I did for that was sink some 4x4s, where's my hand, right there, in the ground there, and then I ran again treated lumber to them to make the whole thing sturdy like a bed. And now my headboard, using the bed analogy, doesn't bounce back and forth anymore. I then removed the rocks that were in this space, and I laid down a bunch of mulch, because what happened last year, let me get a better view here. These beds weren't there last year, and so grass grew up here, and some of it was pretty high, and I was afraid to mow over here because I didn't want to hit one of my panels. And so I would come mowing with the discharge going this way, but you know, every now and then a rock comes out the other side too, and I can't afford to buy more panels, so I was really paranoid about it. I'd get the weed eater out here, then I was worried about throwing a rock up. Woo, sorry. And so once I built these beds, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna cover them so I don't have grass going. So I laid I did the Back to Eden method. I laid cardboard down, and then I covered it with mulch, and then I put some compost on top of it to trickle down through. And then I want to plant something in there that doesn't grow high. You can see my shadow, see? I talk with my hands even when you're not there. So it doesn't grow high. And I think what I'm going to do is turn them into strawberry beds right here. But since we're taking a year off for Shemita, not to plant this year, they'll just have a year for all of that to soak down in and turn that soil really, really nice. But that's what I've done. That's my system as it is so far. I will probably this summer very carefully paint this with stain, you know, like deck stain, just to preserve the wood. It wasn't that expensive to do it this way. Could it be done better? Sure, absolutely. Could I have spent more money? You know it. But this works for me. And with this system, these go into 16 Trojan batteries. I've shown you a video of that setup before, and the inverter and all of that. With this system, I keep a full-size refrigerator running 24/7. We charge cell phones and laptops at will. In the summertime, we ran fans. It does everything we need it to do. I have a light that I turn on when I need it, and supposedly I can rig lights in the whole house, which I'll do after I finish the house, finish the inside of the house. I'm going to run the wires outside of everything. But so there's that. That's the system. It works for us, and it's starting to look nicer. You know, it was looking a little jankier before. My goal for this whole place is to make it look like the cover of, you know, Mother Earth News or something, just beautiful, gorgeous, and whatever. But right now, we're just trying to keep our head above water, get things finished that need to be finished. And with that in mind, I must go up now and attend to Charlie 6, get that knocked off my list, so that I can then work on the workshop, so that I can then work inside the house, hopefully before winter ends. You see the dog? That's what is that, passive heat gain into that lumber pile. It's all radiating out. She's a comfort hound, so she's over there out of the wind, in the sun, very camouflaged. Where am I? Very camouflaged. All right, y'all take it easy. I'll see you out there.